Chapter 11. Time slows to nothing. Kurt sat in the dim glow of the ship's control room, his hands motionless in his lap. His eyes were fixed on the spot where Amanda had been, where the last escape pod had disappeared into the nothingness of space. Amanda was gone. The empty loneliness stabbed at him. Amanda had led the creature away, sacrificing herself, leaving him behind to live. But what was life if it meant being the only human left alive? He leaned forward, pressing his hands to his face, feeling the dampness of tears that never seemed to dry. Weeks had passed since she launched the pod, weeks since he had heard her voice or seen her face. In those weeks, the crushing realization had settled over him like a shroud. He was alone, utterly and completely alone. Earth was gone, destroyed by a cosmic horror he had barely understood, and now Amanda was gone too. Lost in the vast emptiness of space. The creature had taken everything from him, his home, his friends, his reason to keep going. Kurt had always been a man who found purpose in action, moving forward, solving problems. Now, though, he was a drifting soul, a ghost in a machine hurtling through the empty universe. He spent his days wandering the ship from one empty room to the next, trying to remember Amanda walking with purpose down the halls, trying to hear her laugh, her soft voice. The silence was louder than anything he could conjure in his memory. Sometimes he found himself in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. They had always seemed so beautiful to him, distant and serene, a reminder of how small they were in the grand scheme of things. Now, they were just cold and indifferent. He wondered how long he could keep going. Every part of him ached for Amanda. He had spent so many years trying to keep his feelings for her locked away, thinking there was never a right time to tell her, never a way to bridge the gap between their professional lives and his personal longing. Now, it didn't matter. Love unspoken, actions unfollowed. What did it all mean in the face of oblivion? He sighed, stood over his chair, and headed toward the navigation console. Kurt pushed on the forward thruster, checking the ship's trajectory, system, and power reserves. Everything was functionally normal. The ship was fine. Days passed like this, each one blending into the next. Kurt had stopped counting the days, stopped caring about time. It didn't matter anymore. There was no destination, no mission, no goal. Then, one day, the navigation console beeped. Kurt blinked, startled by the sudden noise, a sharp contrast to the oppressive quiet that had been his only companion. He leaned forward, squinting at the readout. There was something ahead. The sensors were picking up an anomaly, something distant, but large, a gravitational distortion unlike anything he had encountered before. He stared at the data, not quite believing it. A wormhole, a rift in space and time. He stared at the blinking light on the console, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. A wormhole wasn't unusual in and of itself, but this one was strange. It was massive. Its readings suggested a distortion far beyond what was typical. Time was warping around it, creating gravitational waves that rippled through space. Kurt felt something stir inside him, a flicker of hope. Could this be the escape he had dared to hope for? A wormhole that might lead him somewhere, anywhere other than here? He had nothing left to lose. Without thinking, he adjusted the ship's course, steering towards the anomaly. The ship began to move, the engines humming with renewed purpose. Kurt was hopeful, a mixture of fear and anticipation flooding through him. He didn't know where the wormhole led or what he would find on the other side, but he didn't care. Anything was better than the suffocating loneliness he was in now. As the ship drew closer, the gravitational pull became stronger. Tugging at the ship's hull, Kurt braced himself, gripping whatever was near as the distortion field rippled through the ship, bending time and space around him. The wormhole was a swirling vortex of light and darkness, a chaotic maelstrom that seemed to pulse with an almost living energy. Kurt stared at it, mesmerized, feeling the pull of the unknown. He had no idea what lay on the other side, whether it was another galaxy, another dimension, or something else entirely. He knew one thing. He knew he had to go through. He had to try. He pressed forward and took a deep breath as the Astralis was pulled into the vortex. The stars outside blurred, stretching and warping as the ship was sucked into the maw of the wormhole. The controls vibrated, the ship's systems struggled to keep up with the violent distortion. Suddenly, everything went still. The ship was in the eye of the storm, suspended in the center of the wormhole. Time seemed to slow, stretching out like a thread being pulled. Kurt felt weightless, as though he was floating in the vast ocean of smeared light. He couldn't tell how long he'd been there. Minutes, hours, days. Time had no meaning here. It was as though the universe itself had come to a standstill. In the quiet and lights, Kurt closed his eyes. His thoughts drifted back to Amanda, to the sound of her voice, the feel of her presence beside him. He could still see her face, clear in his mind's eye. He wondered if she had survived, if she had somehow outrun the creature, if she was still out there somewhere. He liked to think that she was. The wormhole rippled around him, time bending and distorting in ways he couldn't understand. But as he floated there, suspended in light, he thought, what if this wormhole could take me somewhere new, somewhere beyond the reach of the creature, beyond the ruins of this world? What if, on the other side, there was a place I could find her again? The ship began to move again, slowly at first, then faster as it approached the other side of the wormhole. Kurt's heart raced, a mixture of fear and hope in his chest. As the Astralis hurled toward the exit at the other side, Kurt closed his eyes, whispered a silent prayer. Please, let her be there. Let me find her. And then, with a blinking flash of light, the ship shot out of the wormhole and into the unknown.